Meine Damen und Herren, heute ist ein Restaurant mitten in Stockholm. Begrüßen Sie the great Magnus Ek.
Welcome. Thank you. So, very nice to be here. I'm going to start my small demonstration with some pictures. I wonder if I can get the picture on the monitor, please. Yes. So, this is me standing at our farm. This summer, or this spring, we started a farm on the island of Vaxen in the middle of Stockholm. It's not big. It's 1,400 square meters, but it's a place where I try to find inspiration for what I'm doing. And this is, at the moment, what forms my ideas and my menu. So we, let's see. What comes from the garden? Well, of course, a lot of vegetables comes from the garden. That's not so strange. But what's more interesting, I think, is why do we have a garden? Why do we start growing things when you can actually buy them yourself so easy? First of all, we see this as a 3 years project. So this is year 1. We are novice in the field of farming. I have a background from an island where we were self-sufficient on herbs, but it wasn't me. It was my mother-in-law who was taking care of all the herbs and everything. So, and we didn't have so much vegetables on the island. So it's a 3 years project. In 3 years from now, we're going to have one guy or a girl, I don't know, employed, just taking care of the farm, doing nothing else. We're going to plant vegetables that are suitable for our climate, of course. But one of the things is that when you have your own farm, you can harvest them whenever you feel that they are ready for you, and they are in actually the same way as you want to have them when you cook them. And that's a very important thing to have, I think, because most farmers, they see their things according to the plan, how they're going to harvest it, not when I want to have it, instead of when they can harvest it. So that is one of the reasons. One other reason is that there grows a lot of things in the nature who are really nice to use, but nobody's farming them. And you can maybe just pick a little bit there and a little bit there, but not sufficiently enough for you to put on the menu, because maybe it's just for 1 or 2 days, and that's fine also. But it's really hard to make plans in advance if you don't know what you can expect to get. But we also farm it for getting the knowledge about growing food. We see ourselves as novice in the field of farming, and my goal is to learn a lot of different things, new things that are suitable for the restaurant, but also will shape the menu and the farm. It's like a symbiosis between the farm and the restaurant. We do take some help from other gardeners, but not that much, because I believe the knowledge that has been learned by somebody who is not in the trade, but got the knowledge, really loving what you're doing and studying it thoroughly, that knowledge is priceless, because it's so hard to see things with new eyes when you already know how it should be and how it should be done. So that's also one of the reasons. So I'm going to show you a small film just gliding over the farm. It's not big, as I said. It's 14 square 100 meters. So here's the flyby over the farm. I go here and pick vegetables and greens every day before I do service. We making list. I have a list where I pick a lot of things widely, but also the farm list. And it takes me like 2-3 minutes with a car to the farm from our restaurant. So it's really close by. It ends up with a small view from the nighttime view from the window from the Krug. So here is the garden, or at least what's grown on the garden. We have most of the land we have. This is not in the picture. We cultivate the soil. When we started up, first of all, we took samples of the soil, sent it in for testing to see that it was a good soil. And fortunately, it was really good soil. It has almost everything a plant needs. The soil was not toxic, so that's a good thing if you want to grow vegetables on it. But most of the land we cultivate. We have watercress. And it's quite amazing. We have like 5 square meters of watercress. And we're using watercress in maybe 3 or 4 dishes. And we are self-sufficient in 5 square meters of watercress for the whole restaurant. Rhubarb, we planted 14 seeds of rhubarb this year, so we haven't taken anything of it, but our plan is to be self-sufficient on 14 plants next year. Kale, my favorite ones among the cabbages. We have 104 plants, so that's even more than we're gonna need. But the nice thing with kale is that it actually tastes better after the first frost. So this vegetable, you can farm it all year, or you can harvest it all year round. Carrots, well, a lot of those. Zucchini season is over, but I guess we harvest 60 kilos or something like that. It's a very nice vegetable. Beans, we have still some beans left, but most of it is picked already. Radish, this is actually our second harvest of radish. It's really fast growing. From seed to ready for harvest is 3 weeks if the weather is good. Black radish, who grows a bit slower, but even more peppery, more flavor in than the radish. We have bronze fennel. Bronze fennel is, we seeded that quite late. So they went up this big as much as at the top. When we harvest it now, it's a perennial, so you can actually save it. But I'm taking everything up with a root. It has a lovely root, who is not as licorice as the top part, but very sweet, very good, very nice to eat. We have daikon and lovage. Lovage is actually the only herb we've planted this year. So for the first snack I'm going to do, it's just fresh vegetables from the farm with the sweet corn cream. And the vegetables I'm using is carrots. I mean, it's nothing really special with the carrots. It's very good. It's very good in flavor, but it's. I love when they are beautiful to look at as well. They're small, they're crooked, they're sweet. And we have the black radish, really peppery, strong in flavor. Radish, everybody knows about radish. Daikon. Normally you can only buy the daikon very big. Here we can grow it and pick it when it's ready for the way we want to have it. And here's the bronze fennel with a root. So for the first snack, I make a dip of the sweet corn. It's just sweet corn mixed we cook it first, mix it with some thyme and egg yolk, and just add some oil. So it's a sweet corn mayonnaise, you can say. Some cress on it. And I take the vegetables and put them on a on a plate like this. And then I have a solution of Eric, triple Eric. We take Eric and we reduce it to a third. We add like 7%, 8% salt, so it's a lot of salt in it, and some herbs. And I just sprinkle this.
Sorry, a little thing, Magnus. Erzählt in Germany. Zwei Kleinigkeiten hierzu. Einmal, diese Soßen bei Magnus sind oft etwas, was im weitesten Sinne an Mayonnaise erinnert. Eine Creme, die einen sehr schönen Hintergrund natürlich abgibt für Kräuter und Gemüse, weil sie das ein bisschen harmonisiert. Und Salz, Salz ist in dieser Küche nicht etwas, was wir hier so berieselt wird, sondern Salz ist in dieser Küche und in der skandinavischen Küche, da haben wir extra darüber diskutiert, mal in Stockholm, ist ein genuines Element. Die benutzen Salz manchmal wirklich als ein ganz deutliches Gewürz. Wenn man zum Beispiel in Stockholm Langustinen bestellt, kann man denn als Mitteleuropäer die Meinung vertreten, die Langustinen sind versalzen. Und wenn man sich darauf einlässt und sieht, wie dort mit Salz gearbeitet wird, merkt man, Salz ist auch von den traditionellen Konservierungen her ein traditionelles Element dieser kulinarischen Kultur. Thank you.
So this is what we send out on the table as one of our first snack. It's a really simple one. Everybody can do this. There's nothing special about it, but it's a really statement of that you grow your things yourself. So in that sense, it's a very good dish, and I'm very proud of it, even if it's a really simple one. First time when I served this, I was like 10 centimeters higher than normally. I'm a short guy. I was so proud. So, can I have the... So next one is not more difficult than the first one, actually. It's tomato, cherry, and lovage, who has a really nice combination between sweetness, sour, salt. And I'm using some tomatoes that from a farm I've been working with even since the days out on Oaxaca. You split them in half and some salt on them. Put them up on this rack here. And I have a small jelly of tomato water. So nothing really... yeah, sorry. Forgot to take away the plastic. I'm shaking. Put on a leaf of lovage. Lovage is it's a bit like a love and hate herb for some people. I obviously love it. Rich in flavor, has that small orange or citric flavor to it. In here I have some preserved cherries. we just take the cherries and put 1% salt, 2% sugar on them, and vacuum them, nothing else. And I just sprinkled some more dried lovage on top. So.
Liebstöckel also, nicht? Falls irgendjemand mit dem Begriff, der nicht sehr verbreitet ist in Deutschland, nicht zurechtkommt. Wieder ein faszinierender Griff. Ich muss wieder etwas dazu sagen zu den Qualitäten dieser Arbeiten bei Magnus Ek. Er ist ein ganz, ganz ausgebuffter Profi, was die Aromen angeht. Und die 20 Jahre, in der er schon so etwas macht, sind wirklich nicht spurlos vorbeigegangen. Es ist unglaublich, wie präzise dort gearbeitet wird. Es ist makellos.
So it's a really simple one, but it's a explosion of flavors when you eat it. And it's sort of like a small petit four as a mousse. Next one I'm making is also a snack. Can I have the presentation, please? So it's smoked ox marrow, semi-dried plums, and fennel seeds. Here we have a picture of some bones. From the beginning, it was an idea that I had to make charcoal from the bones because we had this big wheel shanks on the menu in the best bistro. And as a friend of taking care of everything, I wanted to use them as well. So I was making charcoal of these bones. But then I found out how beautiful looking they were. I also wanted to use them for something. So let's see. I cut them in half and used them for serving in. Plums. We have an old plum tree at the farm or at the garden, who has these tiny small plums who are very, very sour, but really nice in the flavor. And them I'm using for balancing this dish and also bring some sweetness to it. So I have the preserved or semi-dried plums. I have the smoked ox marrow. The ox marrow has salt and cold smoke and chop up in small pieces and just serve it lukewarm. Serve it with a celeriac puree. Sorry, the celeriac is also easygoing. It's celeriac. We peel off all the skin. We grill it first. Then we chop it up in smaller pieces. Confit it with ox marrow who hasn't been smoked, and just mix it and strain it to a sieve. That's everything. And some watercress from the garden as well. The fennel seeds, we just fry them in a pan with some sugar and salt, so they're getting caramelized. It's almost a bit like candy to it.
Magnus, what kind of wood are you using for smoking?
The ox marrow I smoke with older wood, but we have 3 different smokers and 1 wooden-fired oven. And also where we have our restaurants, I'm 50 meters away from the lady who makes all my porcelain, and I'm 50 meters away from the carpenter who does our furniture and stuff like that. And from him, I'm getting a lot of oak and mahogany leftovers, who I'm also using for smoking. But the ox marrow, I'm using the elderwood because that is the traditional tree to smoke with in the archipelago, because we're from an archipelago island. Yep. So I'm starting up with you can come with the camera here. Here's the bone. Here I have the I'm gonna open this a little bit more. The celery puree, like this. It's a little bit cold, this one. I'm gonna heat this up really fast. And I think there is nothing more giving than smoking ox marrow. You get this deep, smoky flavor without it to be some can call it like somebody hitting you in the face. It's a deep flavor, but it doesn't hit you in the face. Normally, I heat this up in the oven, but and some dried plum. The plums, I always just dry things on, not always, but most of the time to preserve the flavor. I'm not into drying things on such high temperature, normally 30, 40 degrees. Here's just some crumble for some more texture to it. The fennel seeds. So this is the last snack. We serve from 7 to 9 snacks before every dinner. We have 2 menus, one 6 and a 10, but everybody gets all the snacks. I like it when it goes really fast, the snacks. So sometimes it's really hard to keep up with the pace for it, because most of them are like 1 or 2, maybe 3 bites. So this is the next snack. Can I get the presentation, please?
Yeah.
The next dish, this is a dish I'm making, is scallop, potato cream, with meadow greens, unripe blackcurrant in smoked ground LEUs. Well, the scallops, we don't have any scallops in Sweden, but in Norway they have the best ones in the world, I think. So that's from where I'm taking my scallops. Meadow greens. What is meadow greens? In this case, it's daisies, cloves, wild pea, saltwort, chickweed. It's all the things who grows in the meadow who are eatable and good that I can pick at the time. I'm using that as a sample word for all the different ones who grows in the meadows. The picture on the side here, cloves and wild pea, is actually the cultivation plants we have on the farm. So it's a planted meadow. Salted unripe blackcurrant. We're using a lot of unripe berries and fruit for its sourness and its bitterness in the kitchen. So what we do is just we clean them. We add 2.5% salt, and we just mash them together to a paste. And we're using that instead of vinegar or egg or something like that. It has a roundness, who is really nice, and a sweetness, even if unripe berry doesn't have so much sweetness, of course, but it still has some sweetness, who is really nice to the dish, or to what we're dealing with. Ground elder, or I think it's called Girsch in German, is something who we call Kirsch cabbage. It's not a cabbage, but it has a cabbage flavor, so I think it's wise to call it a cabbage. So what we do is that we clean it, we cook it, we cool it down, and we shape it into like a hamburger, grill it slightly, and then we smoke it as in the same way as we smoke the ox marrow.
Magnus,
Yes?
what kind of fat are you using?
What kind of what?
Fat, butter, olive oil?
I'm using butter and rapeseed oil. That's
No olive oil at all?
No olive oil, no. Not that I don't like olive oil, but it's more staying true to your ingredients.
Yep.
Yes. So I will start to prepare the dish. Rune here already fried the scallops. I'm gonna heat up the peas and chickweed and saltworth. And the daisies. The daisies are more, to me, like a vegetable. They grow like if in the park, since Djurgården is a park island, it belongs to the king, and it's a lot of parks on the island. They mow the lawn all the time, so I have to go around and pick it in different fields. It grows up really fast, but it's like a vegetable. And when it's quite hard to pick it, but when it's really in season, it's like you pick a bag of it in less than 5 minutes. It's really easy picking. So I just put that in the pan, some rapeseed oil, and gonna add the paste of unripe blackcurrant. So since it's salt in the berries and sour, I don't need anything more. It's just the berries and the building up a small bird's nest in the middle of the plate. And the potato cream is a straightforward potato cream. It's just peeled, cooked, mashed potato with some butter and egg yolk to keep it together. Put that on the plate. Yes. So here is the sauce of ground elder that we smoked or juice. We mixed it with the stock from the scallop and sieve it through a coarse sieve. That's all. So I call it the juice. And I just pour that over the potato cream. Then I have some flours and bread. Here is the wild pea flowers. Some clove flowers. Finishing off with some bread crumbles from a beer bread, or pilsner carving, as we say in Sweden. It's a dark brown bread, which is a little bit sweet. And then I just placed a scallop in the middle. So, where do you want it? Over there?
Ja.
Thank you.
Ich darf noch auf die kochtechnischen Zusammenhänge noch mal hinweisen. Auf diese, er nennt die Blumen auch Gemüse, aber sie brauchen eine Fassung natürlich. Wir waren vorhin bei der Mayonnaise. Wenn Sie das analysieren jetzt, in welchen verschiedenen Schichten bis zu Minitexturen die Gemüse gefasst werden, werden Sie verstehen, welche Finesse das bekommt. Er sagt immer nur, das ist, man braucht nur das und schon ist das fertig. Es ist sehr, ich finde es sehr ausgetüftelt und vor allem enorm wirkungsvoll. Sie wissen, dass wir immer noch in Deutschland, selbst in sehr guten Restaurants, das Problem haben, dass Sie Kräutersalate bekommen und Sie können die eigentlich, weil nichts damit passiert ist. Hier nicht mit Zucker oder süßen Elementen, sondern mit Fruchtsäure daran zu gehen und dafür nicht so viel Vinaigrettes oder sowas zu benutzen, ist eine sehr, sehr trickreiche Geschichte.
So, next dish, if you can start the presentation, please. Peas and beans with wild pineapple weed, dandelions from Djurgården, and black garlic from Skilleby. It's a vegetarian dish. Next picture is a nice picture of my beans, green beans. That's the only the only beans who is from the farm. And the black garlic. Here's a picture of a compost. Strange or not, but it's how we make the black garlic. We this time of the year, when they pick up the last garlic from Skilleby farm, they send it to us. We put it in a vacuum bag, put it in a 60 degrees oven for just overnight, just for heating it up, for the bag to expand. We the next morning we take the bag, we open it, we seal it again, so it's no pressure, like it's more pressure in there than there was before. We put it in a wooden box, put the wooden box inside of a compost, because a compost is from 60 to 110 degrees. A 110 degrees compost is rampaging. It's not a good compost. But a normal compost has around 60 degrees. So we put it there and we just leave it for 6 months, and then we come and dig it up. And if I can have the presentation back, please. This is how it looks when it comes from the picture on the right side. It's actually just after we put them out from the compost, and it's not a fermentation technique. It's a technique I have great difficulty to explain in English, but it's the protein going over to an enzyme, and you get the caramelization in there. We have, to the beans, we fry them up with wild pineapple weed. Can actually, Rune, vill du springa ner med de här? En till vardera. We can actually send down some wild pineapple weed. It's a weed we pick widely on Djurgården. It grows along gravel roads where there's no pavement. It has a really, we call it street chamomile. It has a chamomile flavor, but it also has a pineapple flavor. It's very intense, I think, especially for wildflower. And dandelions. The dandelions we're using, it's like a kepper. We picked them in the spring, early spring. We put them in a brine with Erik and let them sit there to make keppers. And they don't taste so much, but they help the pineapple weed to really taste a lot of pineapple weed. So that's the reason why I'm using it. So I will start up making the dish. Here is the black garlic. We peeled it and just mixed it in a thermomixer with heat and added butter and some water, actually, because the garlic really absorbs liquid. You can use other things. You can use a stock or whatever, but I'm using water because then it will last you. I can make a batch who will last me a month.
A little bit.
Sure.
Schmeckt sensationell. Ein Drittel wie fermentierter schwarzer Knoblauch, ein Drittel wie Räuchernote, ein Drittel wie irgendeine süße Frucht, die man kaum lokalisieren kann. Zeitlich gestaffelt.
So, and just adding some yogurt for a fattiness and for the sourness as well. So here's my green beans. Some peas. Some broad beans. A little bit of shallot. And chopped or coarsely chopped up dandelion capers. This one was a bit big. Do we have some salt, Runa? Thanks. I'm adding the pineapple weed. Some pea shoots. And here I have some. It's more for the eye and for the taste. It's dried dandelion leaves or flower leaves. And then when we peel the garlic, you get a skin. So the skin we dry and we make a powder of the skin from the garlic, from the black garlic. And I just sprinkle some over it. So that's our vegetarian dish.
Eine Kleinigkeit zu den getrockneten und gepuderten Elementen. Die setzen hier oft, was man nicht meint, setzen ganz kleine aromatische Spitzen, die die Plastizität der Komposition enorm erhöhen.
That's the pineapple weed.
Es ist ein vegetabiler Geschmack, wie ich ihn noch nicht kenne. Ganz einfach. Eine Mischung aus so ein Biss wie auf rohen Spargelspitzen. Dann eine wunderbare Palette von grünen Noten, die aber nicht jetzt penetrant sind, nicht bitter gefasst sind. Und denken Sie auch bitte wieder daran, dass da wieder dieser Katalysator drunter ist mit dem Knoblauchpüree, eine Knoblauchzubereitung. Und diese weißen Cremepunkte. Es ist alles nur winzig, aber sie haben exakt die richtigen Proportionen. Sie können die Gemüse roh essen. Sie können es so essen, wie es auf dem Teller ist, von links nach rechts, von oben nach unten. Es ist egal. Es entwickelt sich ein ganz komplexes aromatisches Erlebnis. Sieht nicht so aus, ist aber so.
So, I don't know, do I have time for one more dish or?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so for my favorite vegetable, who is not a vegetable, but it's a dish with kale, sorry. It's a dish with kale and warm tartar milk-filled calf from Obiquan farm with hazelnut, kale obviously, and woodruff and kale cream. I had a fortune to be able to buy. I have a farm called Obiquan farm who raises Simmental cows. And every summer they take their cows and calves out on an island in the archipelago and just leave them there for grazing by themselves. But one of the mothers was hurt, injured, so she had to be at the farm when all the rest of the cows went to the island on vacation. And this calf was able to drink milk every day. So it's a rather big calf. It was 8 months old when they slaughtered it. So some people might say it's not a calf anymore, but that's how we regulate. That's how we call it in Sweden. So for my favorite one, kale. There it is. I use it in 4 different ways on this dish. One is grilled, one is a puree. We take the grilled one is obviously, we charcoal grill it. We just mix it up with some brown butter and grill it. The other one is the puree. It's made similar way as the girish or the ground elder. We cook it, make a hamburger of it, and grill it, and then mix it with some stock. The sauce is made from the puree, but with more sauce, more stock, and a butter we make from mixing kale butter and just strain it through the sieve and has that as a butter. And powder is obviously dried. I wanted to make a warm tartar. So normally, here's a vacuum bag. Normally, we have a water bath. We do on 37 degrees for not cooking the protein, but making it warm. Putting that in a pan. We have a mayonnaise. This is straight up mayonnaise. Egg yolk, hazelnut oil, we add a little bit of. We warm this slightly up because we don't want to cook the meat. It's just lukewarm. And you don't want to cook the mayonnaise in particular. So just putting a little bit of heat on it. Here's some grilled kale. Here's some larger parts. It's hard to see in the dark here. So here's the sauce. It's just butter and puree and stock. And woodruff is a herb that I'm using to this dish. It's a wild herb. I bet you have it here in Germany as well, because it's not domestic to Sweden or the Scandinavian countries. It's moved up and just recently came to our part of the world. But it has a tonka bean flavor to it. So I'm starting the dish with some just grilled kale. Taking this tartar. And we'll also braise some of the meat. This would normally be warm, but now it's a bit cold. Heating up the woodruff and adding some of this chopped grilled kale. The woodruff, I think, as I said, it reminds a bit of tonka and pistachio, so it goes really well with a hazelnut. I also think that kale has a really nutty flavor, so it's a really nut kale dish. And just cover this up like this. Sprinkle some roasted, chopped hazelnuts on it. Here's the comfort powder. Oops. And a little bit of the juice. And finishing off with some petals, flower petals. So, here's my kale dish.
Ich darf vielleicht einmal kurz dazu noch sagen, was für uns an diesen Sachen so faszinierend sein sollte. Sie wissen, dass die Bio-Küche in Deutschland, die wir alle im Grunde genommen ja unterstützen, ein großes Problem zum größeren Teil hat. Sie muss eigentlich kulinarisch auf eine Stufe vordringen, wo sie faszinierend wird. Sie muss dahin kommen, dass man irgendetwas isst, wie diese Geschichten hier, und sagt, fantastisch. Das möchte ich jeden Tag essen. Und nicht nur, dass man sagt, ja, es ist okay, es ist gesund und so, soll ja nicht schlecht sein. Nein, die Bioküche würde einen großen Sprung nach vorne machen, vielleicht auch in der politischen Dimension, wenn es ihr gelingen würde, wie bei diesen Gerichten faszinierende Qualitäten zu erzeugen, die ihren Weg wirklich durch die gesamte Gesellschaft machen können.
Vielen Dank,
Vielen Dank.
Max. Vielen Dank,
Yes,
Jürgen.
that was everything.
Ich darf euch ein kleines a little present for you.
Oh,
It's
nice. Presents
CHEF-SACHE. Yeah.
Presents
CHEF-SACHE
always
knife
nice.
for you also. Yeah. The 2015 edition.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.